All right, back again, another YouTube series. This time showing you how we're going to take an ad account from zero to spending 300K in just 1 month. And I'm going to document the entire process. So in this video, I'll run over kind of the game plan, the funnel that we're using, what's kind of the overall strategy. Then I'll do some projections on how I see this going. And then I'll also dive into the ad account, which you can see on the screen right now, and talk through the ad strategy. And then in the following videos, I'll be sending updates every few days, kind of showing you what I'm doing inside of the ad accounts to basically spend the 300K in its first month. Now, you guys can go to the channel. I've done these series a bunch of different times, so you can kind of see the progress. I think a few launches ago, we spent 80K. The last launch we did, or the big launch for this client, we did 180K. And then this month, we're trying to spend 300K. So we're scaling it up as we go. Again, you can come to my YouTube and you can see I've done these series multiple times. You can see the last one I did here was like 3 months ago. So I'll be posting these updates, like I said, every couple of days. So let's look into the actual funnel process then. And if you actually want a deep dive of this funnel process, and I'm saying not just at a high level, like talking every little in and out of the whole funnel, I did a video on this. You can see here that this video here 2 months ago, how we made an online coach 1.6 million in 3 weeks. So that was one of the previous launches that we did, and I break down the full funnel process. But at a very high level, we're not going to be running ads to a webinar or like a 5-day challenge or any of those regular funnels that you see. We're going to be running ads to basically for people to apply to become a free beta tester of our course. So at a high level, the angle is, hey, we're going to be releasing this course soon. What we want to, you can apply to go through the program for free. It includes course, community, and live coaching for a 3-week period. You can apply to go through it for free. All we ask is in exchange that you give us feedback to make the course better. And at the end, if you liked it and if you got results, then you could leave us a testimonial. So that's like the overall angle. So it's a little bit different to register for the free event, free training. We get people to actually apply to go through and become a beta tester of our course. So that basically happens. So I'm filming this video a couple of days after we've launched the initial ads. So we launched the ads on February 10th. The 3-week course or program is going to start on March 10th. So we've got a month to basically spend 300K in ads and get as many people to apply and register as quickly as possible. But then on March 10th, the 3-week starts. So that's when the coaching starts, the course gets released, and people go through that process. And then in the final week, we make them an offer to join the 12-month coaching program. So that's kind of like high-level overview. Like I said, if you want to go into the details and find out what actually happens in those 3 weeks, how do we structure the course, how do we do the coaching, how do we do the sell, what's exactly the offer, like I said, this video here dives right into that. But I'm going to try and keep this from a funnel point of view, high level, and focus on the ads and make these videos as short as possible, whilst also giving you kind of like all the details. So that's the game plan of what we're doing. Now, I'm running some projections on what I feel like the results that we could get. So again, bunch of videos previously on this type of process. We've generated our client, I think, over $5 million in the last couple of years from this launch process. From the ads, our kind of record is, I think our record is just under $1 million just from the ads. And then with our organic, our total was like 1.6 mil total. So we've ran this process now like 3 or 4 times. Every time we've pretty much knocked it out the park. Our record was last year, at the start of last year, about a year ago, we spent only 80 grand in ads. But I think we got them back a 5x on cash and a 10x on total sales revenue. And then last year, in the middle of last year, we did it again. I think we spent 180 grand on ads. We got them, I can't remember off the top of my head, like a 2-3x cash ROAS and like a 4 or 5x on revenue ROAS. So obviously as you scale, the ROAS is going to come down slightly, but pretty good results. And like I said, we've done it a couple of times now where we've done over 1.6 mil in open cart week, and the open cart week lasts for about 7 to 10 days. So we did about 1.6 million in 10 days for our client, or 11 days for our client. And that's without any sales calls. It's just straight to checkout page. And it's either a 2K offer or a 5K offer. And they have payment plans and stuff like that. Anyway, I'm basically running through some projections of what I could feel like we could achieve based on the numbers. I like to do this before every single launch. So you can see here that if we project to spend 300 grand, previously for this launch, we get leads for around $4 to $5. I mean, when we first did it, it was like $3. It was super cheap and the ROAS was crazy. But as, again, you grow, scale, we've run it a few times now, the lead cost is going to increase a little bit. I'll show you the lead cost actually inside the ads manager so far, but I'm going to try and play like middle to worst case, not worst case, but like if things don't go perfectly well and they're just okay, kind of what would that look like? And then obviously we want to try and beat that. But I'm just trying to get some KPIs and cost controls in place just so I understand kind of what we're trying to achieve inside the ad account. So we're going to say we're going to get a cost per lead of $7.50, which is a little bit high, but it might go up that high with spending more money. Sales, 360. So that's based on a lead conversion of 0.9%. We usually get between like 1 to 1.5% of the paid leads converted. So that's not people who showed up. It's not people who attended the calls. It's not people who joined the group. It's total people that just registered the leads. We convert around 1 to 1.5. Organically, it's much higher than that. The organic leads convert at like 3 or 4 because this process does an incredible job at converting leads. But just from the ads, the cold people is about 1 to 1.5%, which is really strong when you're selling a 2 or a 5K offer. So again, a little bit worst case scenario, 0.9%. So based on those projections, we would collect around 500 grand in cash and about 1 mil in total sales revenue. Where did I get these numbers from? Well, based on the previous launches, our average cash collected per customer is about 1.3, and our average revenue per customer is about 2.8. So if you plug those numbers in to the sales that we would generate based on the 0.9% conversion, we do about $500,000 in cash collected. So cash profit is only 200 grand. Revenue profit, 736K. So cash ROAS 1.68, revenue ROAS 2.45. So again, not incredible numbers, but again, this is like middle to worst case scenario. It's definitely, we would have to underperform in cost per lead and conversion to get these numbers, which obviously we don't want to do, but again, play middle to worst case scenario. But at the end of the day, going from, if this was an evergreen campaign and we were scaling up over the next few months, then we'd be able to control the cost and probably increase the conversion more, but it's a one-time launch, right? So we have to go from 0 to 300K. So we have to spend 300 grand in the next 28 days. So it's not going to be the perfect ROAS that we could have got if it was stretched out, but it is what it is. So again, I want to get more than that. I would love to get over 2 cash ROAS. I think spending 300 grand and making them 300K in profit back on month 1 is a really good place to be. We've done that previously, so we should be able to do it. But even at the end of the day, if you say to someone, hey, we'll spend 300K, we're going to give you 500 grand back, and then in the next 6 months, you're going to get another 500 grand. At that scale in the info space, I understand it's not the biggest ad spend. People are spending millions, a month. So I'm not trying to say this is the biggest ad spend in the world. But generally in the info space, if someone spends 300 grand on ads, generally people will be happy at a 1.6 cash ROAS. But again, we want to obviously do more. So that's kind of the KPIs I'm looking at. And again, I wouldn't be super happy with those results, but it is what it is. Obviously, I'd love to get the cost per lead down. I'd love to get the conversion rate up, and that should be able to get us to like a 2 to 2.5 cash ROAS and hopefully get up to like a 4 revenue ROAS. So that's kind of like the game plan. That's what I'm gunning for. We will see. Like with these launches, I'm literally doing it in real time. So they can go really well. They can also go not so well. I don't know how many of these like mini series I've done on my YouTube. Luckily, fingers crossed, pretty much everything has gone pretty well. We've had some where it didn't convert as much as we wanted to, so I was left a little bit disappointed. The last one we did in November was a little bit like that, but it was still generally like, okay, we still always make, quite a significant amount of cash profit. We typically would double plus ad spend with cash. Anyway, so this is me basically now trying to run some projections on how I'm going to spend the 300K. So basically yesterday, I'm filming this on the 12th right now, but so I still need to input the data from yesterday, but I'm just filming this video first. But basically it was like on day one, which was on Monday, just to start the ads off, spend 1,000 and then very quickly get to 4K a day in the first week, eight grand in the second week, 12 grand in the third week, and then 14K a day in the fourth week. So that's kind of like the strategy. It's not going to be 100% follow that, but that's kind of, if by, next Monday, the account isn't spending 8 grand a day, then I know I'm behind. So I kind of like need to get to that. Now, this is only 280K total. So there's about 20K spare that will go for retargeting ads and reminder ads. So all of these people that apply to start the program, between now and March 10th, we'll be retargeting them all, pushing them to the Facebook group and pushing them to the course area to try and obviously get them engaged and, keep them engaged and, get them to show up basically, because that's the trouble with, getting people to register for an event that's 4 weeks out. People forget, right? People get busy. So you need a good nurturing process. And we do that with emails and all the other good stuff as well. But we also use retargeting ads. So we might spend maybe about 5-ish grand on retargeting ads. Again, that's just like a ballpark figure. And then that leaves us about 15K extra. And we can use those for retargeting ads once we do the sell. So once we drop the offer in the third week, we can then retarget those people and send them to the sales page. We probably won't spend 15K. I mean, typically we might spend about 5, 8, maybe 10. If that, maybe, we'll see. But I'm just giving myself a little bit of a buffer. But obviously if these ads are going really well, the cost per lead is low, then I'd rather spend more money on registration ads because that gets more leads in. So that's what we're doing right now. You can see on day one, I was a little bit above projection. Instead of $1,000, I spent 1.8. So again, this isn't like the perfect projection, but that's what I'm going to try and stick to. So obviously day one was pretty good. 1.8K in ads, lead 700, cost per lead $2.64. It's pretty good. Some of this is a retargeting campaign, so the cost per lead is always going to go lower. Obviously, as we scale that 300K, majority of that is going to be on a cold audience, so the cost per lead is obviously going to increase. So let's talk about ad strategy then. So obviously, this is a client account. So I'm not going to show the ads. I'm not going to name the client or any of that stuff. But I'm going to show you the ad strategy and how I'm going to manage the ads. And I can also talk about the ads themselves in terms of like the angles and the strategy and how we're creating the angles and coming up with that and what we're testing and stuff like that. But I'm just going to keep everything as confidential as possible. So this is what we're looking at right now. So as of today, and maybe I'll just show you this so you can see, obviously on Sunday, we spent nothing. Monday, we spent 1.9. So I should probably correct that in that sheet. But yeah, so we spent 5.9K so far. We've got 1,700 leads, average cost per lead of $3.38. So it's pretty good. Let's just move this and let's move me. So strategy so far. So we basically, this one down here, I'll just tackle this one first. This is a retargeting campaign. So you can see that obviously the cost per lead is super low. I won't go into that. It's just retargeting campaign. So obviously it's going to work pretty well. Our clients have a pretty good organic audience. So yeah, super cheap leads for those. That's not going to scale. We're not going to be able to spend 300 grand on that, but we're obviously just going to run some basic retargeting ads. We might spend, 300 to 500 a day potentially on that campaign, but we're not going to go hard on it because we'll just burn it out, obviously, if we do that. So we launch it from the beginning and we'll just kind of like let that run. We'll monitor it a little bit, but it's not going to be anything crazy. We have free ad sets in here right now, and the budget's at the ad set level. So this is more of a worldwide campaign. So you can see that's why the cost per lead is super cheap. These two are tier 1 countries. So basically like US, Canada, UK, Ireland, New Zealand, Australia, and then some of the affluent European countries. I can't remember how many is in total, maybe like 14, 15 of them. So we're retargeting them. So they're just grouped all together. And you can see the cost per lead is pretty good, right? $1.45, $2.11. This is a video campaign, a video ad set. So within there, it's just video ads. And then this one is image ads, but they're both targeting the same audience. So what are the other campaigns then? So basically, if I was to do this, again, the challenge is obviously going from 0 to 300K in a month, right? Like there's no room for error, and I have to spend the money. Well, I don't have to spend the money, but like I want to spend the money. So my client wants me to spend the money. So the challenge is going from 0 to 300K in a month, right? If we were doing that over like a 4 to 5 month period, I'd structure it a little bit differently. But obviously my priority is to get a low lead cost. Let's get rid of that. But my other priority is to spend the money. So I'm going to structure the campaign. I'm going to do more campaigns than I typically would. If we were just running this to like a VSL funnel or something like that, I would maybe just have like one main campaign, and I'd target the main countries, which is like US, Canada, Australia, UK, and I might even group them all together, and then I'd just have one big campaign targeting that. For this, because I'm not a big lover of like huge budgets, if anyone's seen like my videos or any of my content, traditionally, I like to try and keep the budget as small as possible. Obviously, when you're scaling, you need to increase the budget, but I wouldn't want to start this campaign and be like, right, I'm going to spend $4,000 a day on this one ad set straight out the gate, right? Especially if it's not really been tested and all that sort of stuff. So I'm a bigger fan of smaller budgets. If you watch the previous launches where we've had lower overall budgets, then you would see that, I would typically maybe do my campaign budgets like 100, 200, something like that. Obviously, again, so I didn't want to group everything together and just be like, okay, let's spend 4K a day. Because I just feel like when your budget's so high, Facebook obviously becomes a lot less efficient with using that money because their priority is to spend the money, right? If you say, hey, spend 4K a day, they're going to prioritize spending the 4K, and then they're going to prioritize getting you a good conversion, right? So I prefer smaller budgets. I feel like Facebook's a lot more efficient with that. So what I've decided to do, and you can see all these different campaigns right now, they're basically targeting different countries. So right now it's UK, Canada, US, Australia, and then we have an EU campaign as well, just targeting the affluent EU countries. I'm not going to go hard on that one, but we do get some customers from those countries. So I do run a campaign there. And again, I've split them up, which is why I've got so many campaigns right now, starting at 500 a day. And again, because I'm also, I'd rather spend 500, or I'd rather spend maybe $1,000 or 500 on a few different campaigns and spend 4 or 5K in one. So I've also split out the images and videos. So like, for example, this one is a US campaign with just image ads. And then this is a US campaign with just video ads. So you can see this is $5.34 and this is $3.86. Obviously, this is working a lot better. Again, if I wasn't in a rush to spend the money and I didn't need multiple campaigns to increase the daily spend, then I'd maybe even just group those together. But yeah, I'm going to do more campaigns than I usually would because I feel like that is the best strategy to spend this much money in a short period as possible. So right now, these are on 500 a day. So that's 1K, 2K, 3K, 4K. So yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to be spending about 4.3K today. So we're kind of on target with that trajectory that I mentioned. This campaign up here is only spent $33. It launched this morning and we're not far past midnight US time. So cost per lead is super high for now. It's been running a few hours or maybe even 1 hour. So obviously not going to make any judgments on that. The rest of them have been spending for either a day or 2 days. Like I said, I launched these first campaigns on Monday. So again, I'm not going to go in and really mess anything right now. Everything looks pretty good. If something after 1 or 2 days was dramatically off, then I'd go in and change it. But cost per lead right now looks pretty good. So we'll go into one campaign and basically these campaigns are all structured right now pretty much the same. So it's a CBO, so budget's at the campaign level. And inside we have 3 ad sets. So everything's broad. There's nothing, there's no targeting or anything like that. It's all Advantage Plus. And again, we've spent quite a bit of money with this client. You know, we spent, like a lot of money on this client. So the pixel is very seasoned. The ad account has got a lot of data. So I'm super confident just going super broad. Sometimes, you know, this is a big debate in the industry. People are like, no, everything's always broad. I've seen some new ad accounts not perform great with like completely broad Advantage Plus targeting, just because they've got no data. Sometimes in the beginning, it is better to do a little bit of targeting or at least give Facebook suggestions to work off, just so it knows kind of like where to look. Sometimes it does work, but I have some new accounts, you know, do broad Advantage Plus and, you know, everything broad except the ads, and it makes no money because there's it's not getting in front of the right people. So I'm not like full on 100%, hey, everything needs to be like broad, big budgets and just let it rip. I do like a little bit of control, but for this client, we've got so much data. I'm also really confident with the offer. We've run this launch multiple times. I'm confident with what type of ads work. So that's why I'm doing completely broad Advantage Plus. And then basically within the campaign, there's 3 ad sets right now. You know, I will put more ad sets in here if I need it. But you can see right now it's just basically splitting the budget, a majority down here, $4, $2.88, and $5.06. So these ads are all just ad angles. So for example, this is, there's 2 clients, like there's 2 business partners with this business. So this image is basically them 2 together. This is just one of them by himself. And then this is an ad with basically an image of them, but it's got like a headline text overlay. So basically, each ad set is kind of like an angle or a concept. So the images within those ads are pretty similar. Well, actually for this client, some of these ad sets, because we actually don't have, and this is my fault, probably because I've not managed the client relationship as well as I should have, we don't have a million different creatives for this client in terms of videos or even like images that we can use. So we're having to be a little bit creative. So right now on the ad level, we've got, let's just go in a moment, we can just blur it. We've got the same image, but we've got 3 different pieces of copy. So right now on the ad level, we're actually split testing the copy, not the creative. Probably most people will be like, no, just keep the copy the same, or use flexible ads and use a couple of different pieces of copy, but you want to split test the image. And I sometimes agree with that, sometimes don't. I think maybe specifically in like the info product space, like the actual copy of the ad is still important. I know e-commerce people are just all about creative. And again, that's kind of true, but I still think, you know, the actual ad copy has a place to play. So for us right now, we're testing that. You can see the difference in performance here. So this one's obviously working pretty well, but it's got limited spend. So obviously this one is pretty much by far the winner, and $4.15 is a pretty good cost per lead to a US audience. So that's basically what we're doing. And right now we've got images and copy that we can test. So essentially the game plan will be launch this, let it run for a few days, analyze the results. If it's working well, we'll increase the budget. If it's working well, but we still need to make some changes, say for example, this top one doesn't perform well, then we'll turn it off and we'll launch a new ad set in there, and it'll be like a new image like angle. So that's kind of like the game plan. And again, so this is an image campaign, 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 and this is an image campaign. As of right now, they've got the same image, like the same ads in them, basically. Those ad sets are all identical. Again, at the campaign level, I've just split it out per country because I want each country to have its own budget, because I need to spend, you know, a decent amount of money in a 30-day period. So don't want this video to go too long. This will be like the longest one because it's the intro. But yeah, that's kind of the game plan. I'll be posting a new video every few days, giving you an update on the ads and the performance. If there's any specific questions you've got, again, I'll try and share as much as I can, but obviously my main priority is my client confidentiality. So I'll try and share as much as I can. And we can talk about ad angles and stuff like that, but just let me know your questions on that, the campaign setup, the strategy, or anything like that. And yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next video.